Is the screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So this is what we have seen in the previous class, the list of assembler directives. We have seen 4 directives of assembler. One is RESB, one is RESW, one is byte, one is word. And we know that byte and word are for the constants. Maybe a character constant, it is a byte. If it is integer constant, it is a word. And reserve byte and reserve word, as the name says reserve, we are going to create a variable. If it is RESB, we create a character. If it is RESW, we create a variable for the integer. And we have seen the format for assembly language, where we have a 5-column format. If you recall, we have a machine address, we have a label, we have an opcode, we have operand followed by comments. That is a general format what we can use, but you need not use the same format every time you write the program. So what we have discussed is, if you write opcode, operand minimum, that is required. Plus, if you are using any labels, we can use labels. So these 3 are minimum required for any programmer who looks at writing a assembly level language program, and we have been following the same, and we may use the same for the examination also, unless somebody asks you to assemble the program, meaning that when somebody asks you to create an object program, probably the first column machine address will also be added. So depending upon the question or the type of expectation, you can change the format of your requirement, but nevertheless the general format is this 5-column. Next, we have seen some of the programs, as you said, about the data transfer of a character and integer across SIC and SIC-XE. Now again, you keep the data sheet ready with you, because we keep referring to some of the instructions in our future discussions as well. Now coming to the second part, that is, we have seen the data transfer. Out of 4 type of instructions, what we have: data transfer, arithmetic, then we have a branching and looping, then IO. In that we have seen the first one, there is a data transfer. The second one is going to be arithmetic operations. So before we go to this particular program, so I will give another program. So try to write a program for that on your own. Let us see how much you have understood from the previous class. So take that. Second heading is arithmetic operations. Arithmetic operations. Under that, SIC program, SIC program to compute, SIC program to compute the arithmetic expression beta is equal to alpha plus increment minus 1. You can see that beta is equal to alpha plus increment minus 1. So beta is a variable type like int A, int B, alpha, increment, they are all like variables, minus 1. This is a mathematical expression normally we see in algebra. Similar to that, we have given an expression and we have to write a program. In high level language, you would have done this. If it is given, what you do now, you create int A, int B, int C, that means int alpha, int beta, int increment. Then you write beta B is equal to alpha plus increment minus 1. In one shot, we can get it done. That's how we have the flexibility in high level language. Now, what we are trying to do is to implement the same expression but using our SIC. Maybe after some time from now, we'll see how SIC-XE can help us writing a better program. So copy this program. And while copying is not a simple copy, you should be able to understand why LDA is written, why ADD is written, why SUB is written, why STA is written. On the other side, in the operand, what is that alpha, what is increment, what is ONE, what is beta. So you should understand and write. If you still have any confusion, I'm here to help you. But you should understand, program cannot be copied like as it is. You should be thinking why it is written like that, why not in the other way. So once you do with LDA, ADD, SUB, STA, please be careful. Alpha, INCR, ONE, beta, they are not your opcode. If you go and refer your sheet, SICXC instruction sheet, you will not see alpha, increment, ONE, beta. They are integers. They are declared by you. So they are not going to be under the opcode. They will be coming under the label column. So be careful while writing the program. So LDA, ADD, SUB, STA, Word, they're all part of your programming language, which come under opcode or assembler directives. They should be in the second column. The first column is a label for you, because machine address we are not taking as of now. So I will not consider machine address as a column for you. But first column normally for you at this point of time is the label, followed by opcode, followed by operand. So be careful to write such type of syntax or maybe the format. Have copied the first 4 points. You have some answer?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, why it is LDA alpha? So what is the expression given to us? It is an arithmetic expression, meaning that we need to compute the LSH, the left hand side, using the RHS, the right hand side input. What is there in right hand side? We have alpha, we have increment, we have 1, and we are performing some arithmetic operation. We are performing some addition, we are performing some subtraction. So applying the BODMAS rule, taking the whatever the what you call brackets and off or division, multiplication you get. So we normally do that from the left to right. So we give the preference, associativity, whatever it is. Similar process is being used, and the same concept we have written the program. So if that is the case, first alpha and increment will be performed. Whatever the result we have, that from that 1 will be subtracted. Whatever the result you get, ultimately that will be stored into the result, the location called as a beta. That's how normally happens mathematically. That's how we need to implement in our programming language, irrespective of if it is high level language or a assembly level language. So coming to that part now, we need to perform the addition of 2, that is alpha and increment. We know that from the beginning, accumulator is one of the register, one of the very important register rather, which is to be used every time when some arithmetic operations are called, or whenever arithmetic operations are involved. So what is our primary duty is one of these, either alpha or increment, should be stored in the accumulator. Choice is yours. You can store alpha in accumulator or increment in accumulator. Anyone you should be in the accumulator. So first what we are doing, we are following as if it is given from the left to right. We are storing the alpha into the accumulator. Why we are doing that? Because we know that before doing any operation, maybe data transfer, maybe arithmetic, the data should be in the accumulator. Because main so with the arithmetic operation, because one of the operand, it must be from the accumulator. So we are loading accumulator with one of the operand. In our case, it is a alpha. If you want, you can take INCR also. Since one value is already stored into accumulator, now I can perform the addition operation, because addition, if you look at the instruction sheet, addition can be a 2 format 3 or it can be a format 4, depending upon what type of data we have, and it can be 1 operand or 2 operands, again depending upon how do you want to do. When I say ADD INCR, what is happening? ADD is a addition operation. Addition operation is a binary operation. It requires 2 operands, but how many we are giving? We are giving only INCR. So what is going to happen? This is a one address type of instruction, wherein the other value will be intuitively taken from the accumulator. So we are performing an addition, which is a binary operation, but we are supplying only one operand, no problem. The other operand will be considered from the accumulator. So what is there in the accumulator now? Alpha is there. What is there in INCR? INCR value is there. We are adding both of them. Thereby, we are performing alpha plus INCR. When you do that, alpha plus INCR, the sum, the result will be stored in the accumulator. So what is happening here now? Accumulator is being used as both source as well as destination. Now assume alpha is 10, increment is 5. Alpha is 10 and increment is 5. So initially accumulator is stored with 10. Later, once addition performance is over, that is 10 plus 5, 15. So accumulator now, it is going to have 10. The 10 will be replaced by 15. That's what we have to visualize now. So accumulator is loaded with 10 alpha value. Later, we're performing addition operation, where the addition operation is done with INCR. Let us assume INCR is 5. So what will happen now? 10 plus 5, 15. That 15 will be loaded back to the accumulator. So old value 10 is erased. Old value 10 is replaced by the new value, which is the addition operation now. So the sum of alpha and increment, which is, let us say 15 in our case, in our example, is loaded back to the accumulator. Now what we have to do now? We have to subtract 1 from that result. So how to subtract now? Again, SUB. Similar to the ADD, we have written SUB, which is a binary operation, but we have given only one value. The other value will be taken from the accumulator by default. So accumulator is having a 15 and we are taking 1 and we are performing subtraction. So 15 minus 1 will be 14. So where the result will be stored again? The result will be stored again back to the accumulator. So all these three instructions, accumulator is involved without saying. The first one, we are explicitly loading the value. Second one, without you specifying accumulator, internally accumulator is used for storing the sum. Later, after sub ONE, the subtraction result is also stored back in the accumulator. So initially we started with 10 in accumulator, it became 15, now it is 14. Now that 14 has to be transferred back to the beta. So for that purpose, we have a STA. We know that STA means storing data from accumulator to some other location. What is the location? Beta is the location. So this is how the arithmetic operation has been computed in SIC. Since we know that alpha, INCR, ONE, beta are not available in the system, it is our responsibility to define what do they mean. So in our mathematics example, if you look at here, whatever is on the right hand side is a value, whatever is the left hand side is a variable, which has to hold the data, what is computed in the right hand side. Thereby, accordingly, alpha, INCR, ONE have been declared as a word, meaning that integer constants, whereas please be careful, beta is not a constant, it is a variable, thereby it is defined as a RESW1. So how do you visualize the given expression? Accordingly, we have to write the program. There is no rocket science or Greek and Latin here. Just whatever we have seen mathematically, the same thing has been transferred into the assembly level language program. But in our case, it is a SIC. So any doubts? Any doubts so far?
No doubts, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Fine. If you have understood, I want you to write this program in SIC XE. So next question is, write SIC XE program. Write SIC XE program. Write SIC XE program to compute. Same, beta is equal to alpha plus INCR minus 1. Expression remains same, but only the difference is you are going to get a SIC XE. So now you should visualize from SIC XE point of view, try to use all those what you call registers available. I know in first go you may go wrong, nothing to worry, but this is how you will be learning the program. Anyhow, I will help you to write a better program, but I want each one of you to try just to visualize that how good SIC XE is going to make you to write a better programs. So meanwhile, I'll take attendance, but start working on writing the program. Okay, Asta?
Present, sir.
Abhinav?
Present, sir.
Aishwarya?
Present, sir.
Ambarish,
Yes, sir.
Anu,
Present, sir.
Arbaz,
Present, sir.
Arjun,
Present, sir.
Ashok,
Present, sir.
Vinita,
Present, sir.
Bhargavi,
Yes, sir.
Bhavisha,
Present, sir.
Chaitra,
Present, sir.
Chatterjee,
Present, sir.
Diksha,
Present, sir.
Deepika LG,
Present, sir.
Deepika MB,
Present, sir.
Murali Krishna,
Present, sir.
Gangubai.
Present, sir.
Okay, done. Gangubai,
Present, sir.
Guria Kumari,
Present, sir.
Harshit,
Present, sir.
Indar,
Present, sir.
Kavya,
Present, sir.
Kishore Kumar. What happened to Kishore Kumar? He is absent for a long time. Lata,
Yes, sir.
Manisha,
Present, sir.
Manjunath,
Yes, sir.
Nayana,
Yes, sir.
Nilanjan,
Yes, sir.
Nishant,
Present, sir.
Pavitra,
Present, sir.
Maithili,
Present, sir.
Priyanka,
Present, sir.
Pavan Kumar, Pavan,
Present, sir.
Akash,
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Rajeshwari,
Present, sir.
Rakesh,
Yes, sir.
Ramya,
Present, sir.
Rashmi,
Present, sir.
Ravi Shankar, Rizwan,
Present, sir.
Vishal,
Present, sir.
Savita,
Yes, sir.
Shruti,
Present, sir.
Sneha,
Yes, sir.
Spurti,
Present, sir.
Srinidhi,
Present, sir.
Srinivas,
Present, sir.
Sunil,
Present, sir.
Vaishnavi,
Present, sir.
Vinny, Vinny. Okay. Able to find some solution? What was your thinking process? At least one of you can explain me how do you how to solve this? Now we have to look at the big picture. SICX means we have so many 9 registers, 4 type of formats of instruction, 3 types of data formats, so many flexibilities with respect to instruction set. Now all those should come to your mind when somebody asks you to write a program in SICX. So utilizing those, we have to write. In SIC, there was no flexibility. Only we have to use the given set of instructions. We have done that. Now we have a flexibility in SICX. So probably I will show the next slide for you. So look at this. So this is how the SICX program can be written for the given problem. So it is going to be simple. Where we had 8 instructions in SIC, it becomes 5 instructions. Again, don't copy here. Understand why it is being done so. So if you look at here, the process remains same. What is the process? Out of alpha and increment, one should be sitting in the accumulator. So same process we have taken. We have taken LDA sum number 10. So we have used immediate addressing just to inform you what is the data. We have written it as alpha just to understand. but I can store the data directly to the accumulator where I can use the immediate addressing. So LDA #10. Now I need to add these two, that is performing addition of a alpha and increment. We could have done here ADD with #5. That is also possible. But to give a flavor of how registers of a SICXC can be used, we have used another register by name LDS. You know that the registers S and T are a general purpose registers. Again, there is no rule that we have to write in this way only. As we do in high level language, I may write a program for let us say a bubble sort in 10 lines. You may write in 8 lines. Somebody else will write in 15 lines. All three are same. But what we expect is how efficient the program is. In the sense, can I make a 15-line program into 10 line? If that is possible, I say my 10-line program is efficient. That's all the concept that holds here as well. And you can use whichever the instruction you want. But inform you the application of a format 2 type of instruction, we have used this now. So we are loading another register, but in SIC that is not available. It is available in SICXC. Let us use. Since it is general purpose, I can load with any value. So I have taken LDS. If you want, you can take LDT because S and T are same for the general purpose. You can use either of them. So let me take LDS, where I mean that I'm loading some data into the register S. What is the data? That data is going to be increment data, that is INCR. Here I have taken 5. So the value 5 is loaded into the register S. Now I have got values in accumulator. I have got values in the register S. Now I have to add these. Look at the instruction here. It is ADDR, not ADD. When I have a ADDR, please refer in the instruction set. There are 3-4 instructions in your instruction sheet that you have with you. Maybe ADD, then followed by ADDR. Similarly, SUB, somewhere followed by SUBR. Similarly, MUL, followed by MULR. Similarly, DIV, followed by DIVR. Can one of you tell me what is the second column for these instructions? Take ADD and take ADDR. What value you have in the second column of ADD? What value you have in the second column of ADDR?
3 or 4 ADD ಗೆ ಸರ್.
Okay.
ADDR ಗೆ 2.
So what is that 2, 3 or 4? It is nothing but
Format.
And format means 2 bytes. 3 or 4 means 3 or 4 bytes. Let me know, if I write a program as a programmer, would you appreciate to go with a 2-byte instruction or a 3-byte instruction? I have flexibility for both. I can use a 3-byte instruction. I can also use a 2-byte instruction. So which one I can use now?
3 bytes.
Pardon?
3 bytes.
No. I have instruction which can take 2 bytes and same instruction may be for 3 bytes. Both are ADD here, no? So when I can use ADDR, which is a 2 byte, why should I go for ADD, which takes 3 bytes? So I should reduce the memory, no, to extent possible. The usage of memory RAM.
Yes,
That we might have seen in ADA as well. How to go with a space complexity. That means, can you write a program such that it takes less memory? When I do that, probably I may be writing an efficient program. Another complexity may be time complexity where I can reduce the time. So is it possible to have both time and space complexity reduced together? May not be possible, but at least memory you should be able to do, because memory is very, very less in the processor. We cannot be misusing, or we cannot be allowing that to be used extensively. So here what we are doing now, ADDR, as the name says, the R suffix remembers us that I'm going to use 2 registers. I'm going to use 2 registers. That means I have to use these 9 registers. In the 9 out of 9, only 5 are in my control. I have to use these 5 registers, one or the other. So in our example here, we have used accumulator. we have used S. So my data is there now. I can perform addition operation with this. Please observe here, ADDR A comma S is written and it is striked off and replaced by S comma A. Is it going to make any difference? Can I write A comma S comma A as I wish?
Yes, sir.
Can we?
Sir, A comma S means accumulator values will be saved to S register. S comma
Okay.
A means S values should be transferred to A value, A register.
No, look at the left hand side. What I am performing is addition, no? When you
Addition.
perform addition, 10 plus 5, 5 plus 10. Is there any difference?
In addition,
sir.
there is no difference.
Now look at this instruction now. ADDR S comma A. What I precisely mean, I am performing
And
addition.
we have to add a 10 to increment 5, sir.
Yes, we have added now.
Yeah.
No, my question
The
is,
instruction is telling alpha plus increase. So that we are adding S with accumulator.
correct. So if I do A comma S, what mistake will it happen? Is there a problem? That's what my question is. Instead of adding 10 plus 5, if I add 5 plus 10 or vice versa, is there any issue? In fact, I am doing like
In
this
addition-
one, you know. I am adding 5
Sir,
comma
in addition, there is no problem, sir. When we go to subtraction, we'll get a problem.
Okay, now I am okay. I am not going to subtraction. I am with that ADDR. I have written, if you observe here, I have written A comma S. I have replaced that later S comma A. Is there any challenge? From
It will store value in S, sir.
Pardon? Pardon?
It will store that value in S if we exchange that.
See, what we have to see here is,
Instead of storing in accumulator.
yes, perfect. So this is what the little endian, big endian assignment we have seen. Similar to that, little endian, big endian, what difference you see? No difference internally, only outside world. Whether you access from LSB or you access from MSB is only difference. But internally, the access of memory is same. It is only byte addressability, nothing else. Similarly here, whether you write A comma S comma A, no change. However, each processor will be having its own notion. As we have seen with little endian, big endian, from architecture point of view, internally, there is no challenge. Only, for example, Intel will say, I will use a big endian. Somebody will say, I'm using little endian, like that. So manufacturers are creating or designing such that is like for a vehicle. In India, we have a right side driving. If you go to abroad, it is a left side driving. There is no change. Both are same car, same vehicle. Only thing is, how do you drive is different. Same concept here also. When you have A comma S comma A, for a person like us, there is no difference. But the architecture internally is designed such that if you use S comma A, meaning will be different internally. If you use A comma S, meaning will be different internally. In other words, whatever you see on the right hand side operand, if I say S comma A or A comma S or S comma T, anything you write, whatever is the right hand side operand, that operand can be used as both operand as well as the destination. In some processors, whatever you see on the left hand side will be used as a source operand as well as a destination. So when you're writing like this, you should be, as we know that, we need to go through the architecture in detail, no? There it have been mentioned that, okay, when write an instruction, whatever you see on the left hand side, that is going to be both operand as well as a destination. In some processors, it is written that whatever you see on the right hand side, it is going to be source as well as destination. So here, each processor will be different. Each architecture will be different. You cannot take it for granted. That is the reason why we always say to write the comments, because you study in one processor, right hand side is a destination. In some processors, you see left hand side is a destination. How do you know? In car, we can see there is a steering. We can go and see the driver seat. We can make out it is a left hand driving or right hand driving. But your architecture is not visible. Nothing is shown to you. So you have to read the manual and understand whether my processor is having either right hand side destination or a left side destination. So that you should have in mind. So it is going to differ from one processor to another processor, same as we know that about the little endian and big endian assignment of memory. So in SIC or in SIC XE, we are going to use the right side notation, meaning that whatever you see on the right hand side, that is going to be used both for source as well as destination. So you all know that when I perform addition operation or a multiplication or a subtraction, where the result should be stored? It should be stored in the accumulator. So if I write A comma S, what will happen? The result will be stored in the S register. Again, I have to transfer from S to accumulator. Nothing wrong if you write ADDR A comma S. The result will be stored in S. Again, you have to write a ST type of command or load into accumulator some data. So you are going to write two instructions for a one instruction. To avoid that, what you can do, ADDR S comma A. What is the meaning now? A and S data is added. Result is stored in the accumulator. That is the concept what we have between S comma A. So internally, the data storage remains same, no change. But if you use this S comma A, we are going to complete in one instruction. If you write A comma S, you may have to write another additional instruction, which can be rather avoided here. So that is the difference between S comma A and A comma S. Whatever it is, whatever is on the right hand side, that is going to be used as a source and destination as far as the operands are concerned. So that is the concept what you have to keep in mind. Now addition is over. 10 plus 5, 15. That is stored in the accumulator. That is alpha plus increment. Now we have to perform the subtraction. So subtract, again 1, immediate addressing. So 15 minus 1, 14. The result is again stored back to accumulator. From accumulator, we need to transfer the result back to beta. So for that purpose, we have a STA beta. So all these are clear for us except beta. So system does not know what is beta here. So we have to define beta is nothing but a integer variable which is defined as a RESW1. So just compare this program with your previous SIC program. There we never had a flexibility in the addressing mode. It's only one or two addressing modes which we have used the direct addressing mode. Thereby we could not use the immediate addressing because SIC does not support that. Thereby your program was having 8 instructions, whereas here the program is having only 6 instructions. So I am reducing again by 25%. My program length has been reduced. That is the advantage of a SIC XE. Not only memory reduction, but understanding is very, very clear here compared to the previous program. So that's how you see the complexity increases in the architecture. Flexibility also increases for the program readability or program writing. So this is about the SIC XE program. So please let me know have you understood or if any challenge is there.
So what is that last line? So beta RESW1.
What you have done in the previous example, have you used beta there?
Yes, sir.
What for?
So
Beta
for storing.
Beta is a LSH, in the LHS, in the sense it is a variable container. I compute something on the right hand side mathematically. Whatever the result I will get, I need to store someplace. To store someplace, that storage should be a variable. It should be a container. It should be a free container. A free container cannot be a constant. It should be a variable. What type of variable here it is? Because right hand side is integer and hence left hand side also should be a integer variable. Thereby I am declaring beta as a integer variable RESW1.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
in sub immediate address mode 1 we used no sir. Again we are using store in accumulator, store from an accumulator.
You
to
need
beta.
not do that is by default. By default,
Yes.
by default, all those LDA, SUB, all ADD, MUL, DIV will store the result back in the accumulator. Only when
Okay,
situations like S comma A is there, you have a flexible because S is a register. And this is a 2 address instruction here. So we don't know which one you want to use it as.
Sir, in SUB we can use like STA beta is there no sir? We can
Ah.
reduce the statement now, sir, in this.
Which one? SUB, what you want?
If we avoid STA beta,
No,
in
to
sub only
avoid
we
STA,
will.
no, STA beta you cannot avoid because the result is stored in the accumulator. But you want to store it back to whom? The variable, no?
Sir, again, in sub, without using immediate mode, we can use any other modes like
No, you can use.
direct.
How it is going to, for example, I will say SUBONE. What will happen? SUBONE will remove the data. I mean, it will subtract the data. But ultimately, the result will sit in the accumulator. But that is not the requirement for me, no? I want to store that accumulated data back to. So SUB beta is of no use for me.
Okay, sir.
Because
Like
even
what I told means
we
can give a target address in some after some subtraction.
But subtraction is this way. All arithmetic operations utilize accumulator as one of the operand. That you should not forget. So SUB, you can use accumulator as a source or destination, but by default, accumulator is used as a destination only.
Okay, sir.
So probably I suggest you to go through that sheet what is given with you in detail. It is given what will happen to each instruction, which memory is going to be changed, which register is going to be changed. Probably when you find time, go through that last column of that each page, you will get to know. Don't go with all the instructions, go through only whatever instructions we have seen, because all other instructions might confuse you. Because we have not used them, you can go through LDA, STA, ADD, SUB, like that. So you will understand how this is being computed. If you are done, I will give another program so that you can try on your own. Okay, if you don't have any doubts, I will go to that program. Shall I? Okay.
Sure.
Write an SIC-XE program. Write an SIC-XE program. Write an SIC-XE program to compute delta is equal to compute delta is equal to gamma plus INCR plus 3, gamma plus INCR plus 3. So try this program. Able to get some idea? Similar program, just small correction.
Yes, sir, done.
Yes, good. I've sent you a quiz. Those who are done, you can take the quiz. So done with quiz, you can copy this program so that we can discuss that. And we are entering now into the third category. We have done with the data transfer, we've done with arithmetic. Now we are going to branching of instructions. I mean branching type of program. So branching program in SIC. This is very important from exam point of view. This program was asked many times. So you can copy this. Maybe by 5 minutes from now, we'll discuss this. So meanwhile, complete the previous program and quiz as well. Able to do the quiz?